waited all winter for this.
It's the biggest race we have all year long.
The icons of this sport have all starred on its biggest stage.
It's the great American race. Trust me.
I won the Daytona 500. I won the Daytona 500.
Pull them belts tight one last time, boys. Light the fire.
Big push coming now for Harvick. Oh, and around goes a couple cars. Priest upside down. He's barrel rolling through the grass.
You got plenty of money. Don't need that to keep racing. Is it worth the risk to keep on going?
Sure, to win.
Yeah, welcome to the Bump and Run podcast. I'm your host, Michael D. White, joined by my two best friends, Matt the Statman Reilly and Eric Daytona Ron. Hope you guys had a great offseason. Hope you guys had yourselves a Ryan Blaney type of offseason. And we're celebrating the championship, of course. We're picking up where we left off in November, and I feel like this happened the last 2 years in a row now. We apologize to all the listeners. We had full intentions on doing some episodes in the off season. It was just a very short and busy off season for I think all three of us, and but we're happy to be back. NASCAR is back. It's the moment we've all been waiting for all winter long. Praise the Lord. Praise Henry Ford. It's race weekend, baby, in LA for the LA Clash. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Podcast available on all podcast platforms. We're thinking every Monday night, again, going back to tradition. Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and more. Every Tuesday morning available on YouTube. Probably put it on YouTube Monday night, too, now. Try to get it out for you early. It's Thursday as we record this live. Surprise! I had some technical difficulties, I have to tell everyone. We meant to do this earlier in the week. I redid my complete computer last week, and I delayed these guys by an hour and a half setting all the things up that I forgot to set up over the weekend. So I apologize to my co-host, Matt the Statman Reilly and Eric Daytona Ron. Feel like I'm shot out of a cannon because I'm excited to watch the Zoom Zooms go around track. But fellas, I mean, I talk to you guys in roundabout ways every day, but I haven't really gotten to what have you guys been up to all off season? Eric, I know your Jaguars were doing really well for a while there. Matt, I don't know about the Jets. I don't follow college football, so I don't know what you guys are talking about in the group chat half the time on Sundays or Saturdays. But how's everyone's holidays and everything?
So, yeah, it was good. It was like you stated, you want to put out shows on the off season, but when the off season feels so good to just relax and go back and not have to worry about doing this and that, and you're getting stuff done, it just, sometimes it's better maybe to not put out an episode, because I did see some interaction on Twitter with, some people stating like, I'm getting the same old in the off season. Like, I can't wait for the racing to start to get the real news and stuff. So maybe it was a good thing we didn't put out any just, bogus episodes out there to just fill time of the same old stuff. You know what I mean? Like, but no, it was good. It was needed. My teams ended up blowing it, Whitey. They were doing really well. And then at the end of the season, fell short. So
can I tell you, Eric, I felt so bad in our group chat, in NASCAR group chat, because me and Matt were talking one day about starting to get the itch, just starting to get the itch. And Eric was like, boy, I'm not feeling it at all. And I go, well, you want to what? Just enjoy the football season while it lasts. I didn't realize the day before your Jaguars lost. Yeah. And I I found out like 4 days later. I'm like, it's too late to apologize now. I hope he doesn't think I was being a dickhead. I really.
That's sports, man. That happens. I'm used to it, especially Matt knows when our teams are, usually it's sad seasons for us. So, when you're used to that in a way, it doesn't hit as hard, but every time your team is knocked out, it changes you for a little bit, and then you have to sit on it, let it sink in, and you move on. So now that that's all done out of the way, the itch is there. I'm full on. It's NASCAR is here. So that's in the past now, and it's all racing moving forward.
Yeah, I can't wait. I didn't like you. I wasn't really itchy up until about 2 weeks ago. I was like, you want to know? Let me go check out some old race highlights. I found the Talladega race that Matt was referring to all season long, where it was threatened by rain. I believe it was 2016 Spring Talladega. So check that one out. It was a banger of a race. It really was exciting. Chase Elliott won the pole. It was during his
rookie season.
I want to say freshman season for some reason. Again, because
football, you know,
it's been a long off season. I've forgotten a little bit of the NASCAR terminology and stuff. But Matt, how's your off season? How's the family? How's everything going?
It was really good, man. It was really good. I lost a hand in the off season. Just joking. That was great, man. It was great.
All right. Thursday show, baby, really off the rails.
Yeah. No,
these new listeners are gonna they're in for a ride this year.
Oh yeah, we're gonna bring the entertainment. We're in a silly mood. That's what we're gonna bring. We're gonna bring the silliness all season long. So buckle in. Yeah, no, like you guys, I know we wanted to do an off-season episode or two, but once we let our wings spread out a little bit and we're soaring through the off season, it was kind of nice to just like not that this is an obligation, because obviously we love doing this every week, but it was just nice to like not have to worry about just one less thing to have to worry about. And absence makes the heart grow fonder. So we're back. We're super excited. I'm super excited. I wasn't. Like Whitey just said, I think that was early January. I kind of mentioned, like, I'm kind of starting to get the itch a little bit. The Jets season was over and NFL playoffs are starting. College football is over. And I'm like, I'm starting. But now with this documentary that came out on Netflix, Full Speed, 5 episodes. I'm sure if you're listening to us, you've probably already seen it. If you haven't, see it. Like, it's 5 episodes, very digestible. One of the best NASCAR documentaries that I've seen in a long time. That wasn't like super hyper serious. Like it was more of an entertainment type deal. And after watching those 5 episodes the last couple of days, like, oh my God, am I ready? Like, I cannot wait for this season to start. And I'm not even necessarily even talking about the Clash, because that's an entertainment deal. Like, I cannot wait for 2 weeks from now for the Daytona 500. So guys, season 4 for us, like season 4 of the Bump and Run podcast, let's give ourselves a little tap on the back.
Pat on the back. Oh yeah.
I don't think anyone, including ourselves, thought we would get this far, but again, we love doing it. So season 4.
Well, you nailed it, Matt. That's it. It's not an obligation. We love the sport of NASCAR, and that's what keeps us coming back. And it's awesome because, I don't know, I've always craved the conversation with NASCAR, like after a race, like you want to talk about it and you want to get all of your hot takes out. And for a while there, we weren't able to do that until we decided to put this together. And it's been, some of the best, conversations that I've ever had. So, and it's just, to me, like, we'll always do it because it's real. We have a real love for the sport of NASCAR.
Absolutely.
We do this for, what is it, 9 months out of the year. We're giving takes every week. We're going back and forth, and without having a platform to give our takes, all I have is our group chat, and I'm firing off some of the worst takes you can imagine in there, just because I'm all bottled up and I need to get it out. I fired off really bad NFL takes recently. I'm firing off bad jokes. Like,
the chat was coming at you, Matt. The chat was at your throat at one point. Like it was coming at you hard.
You want to know why? All the material's just building up. So now I just have to get it out, no matter if it's good takes, bad takes. They're all flowing. But we're gonna have some great NASCAR hot takes throughout the season, as we always do. I'm very excited for Daytona. Me and our buddy Jay, we've been planning our trip down to Daytona the last 2 weeks. Bought my tickets today at work. I watched NASCAR Full Throttle, watched the whole entire thing in one day. That's how good it is. So if you haven't checked it out, definitely worth watching. I know, Eric, you didn't watch yet, but you got to check it out, man. It's so good.
That's on Netflix?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It just dropped on Tuesday, and it's trending in the top 10. So it's right on the main page for everybody. Hopefully it spreads the word, NASCAR. And I tell you what, I gained an appreciation for James Dennis Hamlin that I didn't have before. A lot of the series, he gave the most access out of anybody, so he is really heavy in the season. And if you don't like Denny Hamlin, it might make you like him, and if you don't like him, it might make you hate him even more. But it's worth watching for the growth of the sport too, you know. And
he won me over. It was I thought everything was great. My only complaint is that, and it's not even a complaint towards the documentary, it's a complaint, I guess, towards the drivers, that a lot of the playoff guys didn't really give access, so a lot of them weren't in it. It was only about it was only about 8 of the playoff drivers out of the 16. So that was a little unfortunate, because like, why not? I mean, I guess if you don't want people intruding into your life, whatever, but like Ross Chastain of all people, you know, did the documentary, you know, Mr. You know, Lone Wolf even did it. So I don't know. I thought like guys like Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick, like their storylines could have made it even better than it already was. But again, that's just me nitpicking. It was phenomenal. If you get time, go ahead and watch it. It'll get you ready for the season.
I noticed like the only Ford driver they really followed was Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney. Of course, Logano fell out of the playoffs early on in the first round. And I wonder if that's why they didn't really follow like Martin Truex Jr. or Kyle Busch. But Truex Jr., that was a storyline all playoffs too. And they didn't barely even touched on it, which was crazy because he was the regular season champion and his whole season fell apart in the playoffs. You would think that'd be like major storyline, but MTJ is a pretty private guy the way it is too. So
I was going to say, like, he's the one I'm least surprised about not being on there, because he's super private. Plus he had stuff going on away from the track that I'm sure he didn't want shared. So
yeah,
that makes sense why he wasn't on it.
And then, but I did notice too, because Matt, you were referring to a tweet about the access. Someone tweeted about a lot of drivers not giving access, and Brad Keselowski actually responded to that tweet. He goes, "This is news to me." So I wonder if Brad and Chris Buescher gave access. They just didn't really go with that whole storyline with RFK and whatnot. So again, you have to think like the producers are trying to tell the story they want to tell too. So like, you know, who knows what their decision making was.
The EP on it.
Yeah, but like the actual production crew and stuff, like the director and everything. Because like even in, and I don't want to spoil it either, but even once Christopher Bell kind of made his way through the playoffs, which like they didn't think he would. He made the championship for last year and he made it again this year. I don't know why you wouldn't start following Christopher Bell in the first place. I mean, his season wasn't the greatest in 2023, but he had a hell of a run. And I think it was like episode 3 or 4, they added him into the whole storyline. I think the title of the episode was "I Wasn't in the Plan" or something like that, because he wasn't in their plan for production, which I thought made an interesting angle for the show itself too. So a lot of really cool behind the scenes stuff. You really get to know these guys' personalities too. And I gained a lot more respect for Christopher Bell too. That guy's fucking cold. He's cold-blooded, man.
Well, actually, Whitey, I'm happy you just said the F word, because that's a good transition into what I was going to tell Eric. Like, Eric, there's a lot of cursing in the show, so I don't necessarily know if it's for you.
Yeah.
If you're unfamiliar with our show and this is the first time you're tuning in, Eric sets a world record every other episode for curse words. So,
well,
there's a lot of it. Wait until something happens to Eric Jones out there. That's
if Michael McDowell is involved, there's going to be some F-bombs.
I was going to say I'll have to see if I can find the Michael McDowell rant from early last season when he held up Eric Jones for a whole entire road course. Epic, absolutely epic. But fellas, there was some NASCAR news in the offseason. Should we kind of touch on some of that stuff?
Brush on some things, kind of get everyone up to speed who might not be.
I have a bunch of stories here. And what's that?
I go me.
Yeah, we gotta get Eric caught up.
When the off season hits for Eric, the off season hits.
Yeah. Honestly, though, too, I didn't check in with a lot of NASCAR news either. When I was doing my outline, I was going through NASCAR.com and J-Ski. I'm like, I don't remember this. I don't remember that. I didn't see this shit.
I didn't either, but it was purpose built for me. And I'm sure it was you guys too, because if you listen to us every season, towards the end of the season, we're always like, my God, it's such a long season. Like, it's almost over. So I don't want to burn myself out this year.
Yeah.
You know, it's slow and steady. We've got a nice Olympic break in the middle of the season. So I purposely, like, besides skimming through Twitter, like, I didn't go out of my way looking at NASCAR stuff in the offseason because we've got all year for that. Like, we're caught up. We know now, you know, we've done a little bit of research over the last week or so. So I purposely kind of stepped away from the sport, enjoyed football, enjoyed the holidays, and now it's time. So
I think disconnecting and disassociating with like the Twitter and the socials, which we're on constantly, and sending stuff to each other during the week, to just get away from all of that, black it completely out.
Yeah.
And like you said, we were talking about, oh, did you get the itch when the racing coming on? I didn't have that. And like, Matt, I think subconsciously I was doing that as well. Like, let me just, when racing's here, I'm going to know it. I want it to punch me in the face and be like, all right, the Daytona 500 is next week. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm feeling that way right now. It's kind of like a burst, a rush of energy into the season, instead of like, you know, kind of you're doing the same thing every day, leading into it. Like, oh, all right, like third week of the season, we don't want to be like, oh, this is a grind already. You know, I get it.
I tell you what, the thing is, so here's the thing about the off season too. The first 2 months, holiday season, super busy. You're not even paying attention to anything. You got Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, all that stuff. I don't know about you guys, but this past month, January, it dragged the hell out. Like, it felt like the longest month ever, you know? And I started thinking about it today. Well, I'm like, all right, well, it's race weekend this weekend, Super Bowl after that. And then Daytona 500, we got about 13 weeks, and we're in the springtime. We're in June, you know? And I feel like the start of the NASCAR season really helps me get through the winter, where it's like, oh, it's going to make February, March, and April kind of fly by, you know?
1,000%, dude. 1,000. And then before you know it, we're getting ready to go to Pocono. You know, we're making plans to head up to the track. Right. So I'm ready. I can't wait.
All right. So I put down a lot of stories. I don't know if we'll touch on all of them. I'm going to try to hit some of the smaller ones first. I didn't look up like sponsorship news and stuff like that. Crew chief changes or anything. But the first, so I have 3 non-NASCAR stories, but they're series adjacents. So Dale Jr., the Cars Tour, they're expanding to the West Coast in 2024. I don't know the whole schedule, but if you're interested in finding out the Cars Tour and where they'll be in the West Coast, you could do the research yourself. Again, we're a NASCAR podcast. Ray Evernham has acquired the rights to the IROC brand. Now, Ray Evernham, of course, famous Hall of Fame crew chief of Jeff Gordon, he got his start in motorsports with IROC. He has a huge passion for IROC, and he's bringing it back as a passion project. No official date on when the series is actually going to come back. It's just that he has bought the brand, and it is anticipating bringing it back. And that same day, unfortunately, SRX has stated they will go on hiatus. Now, it's especially interesting with the SRX piece because a couple months ago, they said they had their whole entire schedule figured out. Not exactly sure what's going on with that or if they will return in the future, but that's something we'll keep an eye on because I know all 3 of us really enjoyed Thursday Night Thunder this last summer and the SRX.
That's going to be terrible. Like that. I looked forward to that, man. Like,
so did I.
It was so much fun. Those races were awesome. Like that was the first season I watched every single race. Couldn't wait. Like I watched it and I was invested in it. And I'm like, all right, here we go. And then it got pulled right out from underneath us. And I don't know how I feel about it because it kind of seems like the IROC deal might not even happen at all. So like, why would Tony and them pull out so quick if they don't have anything lined up on the IROC side?
Well, so here's a piece of that that a lot of people never mentioned. Ray Evernham left the SRX series. He wasn't involved this past year. I don't think he was involved past year 1. So I don't know.
I didn't even know that. Yeah. I thought he was always involved right up until the IROC series was announced.
No.
And that kind of that's what brought the House of Cards down.
But Tony probably knows that he's got something in the works these last couple of years, that this is okay. So there's some stuff behind the curtain that hasn't been shown to us yet, pretty much.
Yeah, I think it was just like a crazy coincidence that they announced that the IROC brand was coming back and the SRX was put on hiatus all in the same day. It was even funny because someone on Twitter from the SRX series was tweeting earlier that day about just regular business as usual. So I think it was probably a pretty abrupt.
I'm going to blame Tracy. He friggin' crashed all the cars and probably cost them too much money every week.
He did.
He's the reason why they're not coming back. They're bankrupt by crashing everybody.
That's why they had to kick him out. They weren't turning a profit. That's not even a joke. That's probably the truth.
That's probably accurate.
But those are my three non-NASCAR stories. Nothing really much to report on those after that. The big story in the offseason, NASCAR new media rights deal totaling $1.1 billion per year. So currently, the NASCAR schedule is split between Fox and NBC equally. Fox will host the first 14 races of the season. That includes the Clash. And
I wish it was the first 4 races.
I agree too. And then 5 races will switch to streaming on Amazon Prime Video, which we've seen the NFL do with Thursday Night Football. So that seems to be where things are going. 5 races after that will go to TNT, and it will also be streamed on, I think it's like HBO Max. I don't know. HBO changes the name of that all the time. And then the final 12 races will be on NBC. So they'll get the last 2 regular season races and then all of the playoffs. And of course, I practice qualifying. It's all being spread around again. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough next year with the changes to keep up. But we will be here to help keep you up and try to keep ourselves up to date with everything going. Just what channels and whatnot to tune in to the races next year. But what do you?
I'll tell you what. If you're a new listener and you don't like Fox, boy, have you found the right podcast. Because we're gonna destroy Fox on a pretty regular basis, like we usually do.
Yeah, absolutely true.
Unless they got their shit together this year. I mean, they don't get the benefit of the doubt. They get a 3-race. They get the Clash in the Daytona 500 to prove me wrong.
Pump the brakes. As long as Clint Boyer's in that booth, I don't think I see it working out at all.
Yeah,
Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, he's tough to listen to.
Save us, Harvick. Save us.
I hope so. Maybe Clint will stop trying to fill so much airtime talking about that hot rod.
Oh God.
But other than that, what do you guys think about the NASCAR schedule being spread around to 4 different? It kind of reminds me of when like ESPN and TNT were involved in the sport too.
It's everyone's like thinks it's this big deal, but they never look back into the past to see how it was back then. It was on 42 different channels back in the day too, some years. So it doesn't matter. Look up what it is. Everything is ever changing. It's 2024. If we're still complaining about streaming in 2024 and where you could get it and can't get it, I'm sorry, but you're lost. You know what I mean? Everything is very simple now, and it's
right here.
Yes.
On the NASCAR app. You can get it on the NASCAR app.
Everything is at the palm of our hand right here. It's figure it out.
No problem. Yeah.
Point, you know. There's plenty of guides. There's plenty of, you could go to the internet. You can find where the races are. Do a quick, take 35 seconds out of your day to find out what channel the race is on that week. And that's it. It's so
I'm pretty sure everybody has an Amazon Prime account. At this point, I think everybody in the world has an Amazon Prime account. And if you don't, you know somebody that has one, and sign in with them or something.
And if you think you don't, you probably do. You don't even realize you're taking your money every month.
Yeah. Yeah, honest to God.
I realized
I'm just signing everybody up and taking their money.
I realized I've been paying for Peacock for months now. I didn't even know it. Anyways, I have a couple drivers moving to other teams that we were speculating before the end of the season, but it was made official in the offseason. Sheldon Creed and Chandler Smith are joining Joe Gibbs Racing on the Xfinity side as well. And I thought this was the most interesting one. Eric Almirola is going to return to the Xfinity Series to run a partial schedule for Joe Gibbs Racing. So going back to where he started with Gibbs, we'll see if he could finish that Darlington race. Do you remember that whole fiasco with Denny Hamlin years ago? So maybe he'll get his redemption there. What do you guys think about, just Eric Almirola? I think the other two guys, that's just regular Xfinity business. But what do you think about AA going back to the Xfinity Series for a little bit?
I think this is a good move. I think someone got in Eric Almirola's ear and said, hey, listen, you're not going to have this ride at SHR anymore. That's done. You're out. So if you want to continue racing because you couldn't make up your mind, he retired, unretired.
Yeah.
How about we do this for you where you can continue to race and you're going to be in really good equipment when you do it. And maybe it will convince other drivers that are in the same position as him to go and do that same thing, to grow that. To have the guys that are not really going anywhere, hey, go back down here. Maybe it'll persuade people to go that route, like we talked about in the past, the John Hunter going back to trucks type of thing. I think it's good that veterans like Eric Almirola will go down to Xfinity because Xfinity drivers, they need to go against the Cup. They limited that to 5 races. I think they really do learn when they're racing around these Cup drivers that go down to Xfinity. So to have Eric Almirola and possibly some other drivers going down there running one-off races, that's just giving the Xfinity drivers more experience against guys at the Cup level. So to look at it in that perspective, I think it's a positive thing just for the sport overall. And Eric Almirola is a likable guy. You know what I mean? He brings value to the sport.
Absolutely. And we're a big proponent on this podcast. If this is the first time you're listening or you haven't listened in a while, we enjoy when guys drop down a series. Sometimes it's better for that driver. They don't make as much money as in the Cup Series, but sometimes they actually go out and win. Like you just said, John Hunter Nemechek. Another interesting one, Ty Dillon is doing just that. He's going to drive the full truck season for Rackley War Racing. What do you think about Ty Dillon jumping down to the truck series?
I think all three of us must have mentioned that idea 100 times probably the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And then it actually happens. Dude, bravo. That's a guy like Ty Dillon is the perfect example of what you two are just talking about dropping down. Listen, you got your shot at Cup. You tried your hardest. Mm-hmm. It wasn't going to work out. It didn't work out for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But dude, now you're going to go down to the truck series. You've got all this experience. You're obviously talented enough to be at the highest level of NASCAR for the past 7-8 years, however long Ty Dillon's been in the Cup Series. Go make a name for yourself down there, dude. Matt Crafton ain't living in a shack right now. Matt Crafton's made a hell of a career for himself.
Johnny Sauter's doing just fine.
Stuart Friesen, all these guys, go do that, have fun, and maybe just maybe some of those guys who aren't as professional of drivers can learn something about racing around some guys that have been around for a long time.
Right.
Hey,
Ty Dillon, he's one of my very first
series great again.
I'm sorry.
What's that?
Make the truck series great again.
Oh, that needs to happen. 2 years ago, that needed to happen. I stamp my approval on that 100%, Matt. That series is, I talk about Eric Almirola being down there to help the Xfinity drivers. We need all the drivers to go down to the truck series and really teach them what racing is.
Someone call Mike Skinner and tell him to get his ass in a truck. We'll teach those guys down in the truck series.
You know what? I bet you Mike Skinner would jump in a truck any chance he got to. I feel like people aren't calling. But I agree. I think Ty Dillon is the perfect guy. He has enough Cup experience. He's still young. He's only 31 years old. And he could go down and kind of teach some of these kids how to race with a little bit more respect than they already have. And like you said, we got to make this truck series great again because there is a total lack of respect across the field for everybody.
Well, we might want to pump our brakes on promoting Ty Dillon as the guy to teach that because if the class 2 years ago says anything about respect on the race.
Yeah,
Well,
no, that's true.
That's true. Ty Dillon came into that first clash like a goddamn wrecking ball. But you want to know what? We're still talking about it 2 years to the day. You know?
Well, we are.
You're right. I don't think I'll ever forget that.
Ty Dillon was the show at that first clash. He made that clash what it was.
It's always talked about after the clash was Ty Dillon.
You know what? Now I hope he goes down just roughs motherfuckers up.
Yeah, I want full chaos Ty Dillon in the truck series. Keep the chaos. 180. Keep the chaos going in the truck.
Oh, I love it.
Back to the truck series.
Guys, keep it rolling. I gotta step out for just a second. I'll be right back.
All right. Matt. No, for real though.
Oh, that was too funny.
Here's what I do have to say about Ty Dillon going down though. At least he'll be able to help out that Rackley War Truck Series team. They're in their beginning stages. They had Matt DiBenedetto last year. I think they won Talladega last year, right?
I think so. Yeah, it's a 25 truck, right? White and blue.
Yeah, they won Talladega. They made the playoffs. I think he made the round of 8 in the playoffs. So the truck is decent. Hopefully Ty Dillon gets some good experience and win some races for him. I think he will. And then Matt's gone, but I don't think he could jump back into this one. Stewart-Haas Racing signed Noah Gragson. That was made official. Of course, we talked about Noah going to SHR before the end of the season, but now it's official. Eric, what do you think Noah Gregson's going to do? You think he'll struggle as much as he did in that 42 car, or do you think?
No, I mean, it's a significant upgrade going from that 42 car to the 10. And we've talked about it last year. And if you're not familiar, new to it, Legacy kind of got screwed in a way.
Yeah.
And the equipment Noah Gragson got screwed by the rookie season, having that happen, being overshadowed by a tremendous, probably one of the best rookie seasons out of Ty Gibbs.
Yeah.
So he was really, really, really down. And like it reminds me of Bubba Wallace situation in a way where we want to talk mentality and keeping it together and being in the professional and how do you respond. And I think this was a major step in Noah Gregson's Cup career as far as mentality and growth in that department. I think this was something that is going to change him in ways that we wouldn't know because we didn't go through something like that. But I think I have full confidence, and I'm hoping he does well, because if he does well, that'll boost his confidence. The kid's got all the talent in the world, just like Bubba Wallace has all the talent in the world. But sometimes your mentality could hold you down and hold you back from really accomplishing these goals that you set for yourself. And, it's sad when you see talent not get the wins and the achievements they should be getting that that they could get. So I'm pulling for him. I think he's going to come out on the other end of this for sure.
Matt, just to catch you up, we moved on to Stewart-Haas Racing officially signing Noah Gragson. To Eric, to your point, he was especially frustrated early last season where he was looking forward to the off season where we were just having an off weekend before we even switched to NBC in the spring.
It was a disaster of a season for Noah Gragson.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, for a multitude of reasons, I'm hoping he does good this year, but I'm hoping he makes the playoffs so he can get into this documentary next year, because that dude needs to be on full display for the outside NASCAR world to see.
He is a personality.
I think we're getting a completely different Noah Gragson. I don't think it's the Noah Gragson that we know of from 2 years ago. I think he's going to try. I think his PR people are going to try to shed a different light on him. You can't, after what happened, send him out there with his jacket unbuttoned, throwing Wendy's Baconators at people in the crowd. I just don't think that's a good look. If I'm the PR guy for Stewart-Haas, I think I try to put him in suit tie a little bit more, professional. If it, not an actual suit and tie, I'm a more professional appearance and kind of attitude.
I was
if I was the PR there.
I was listening to Dave Moody on Sirius XM the other day, and he was talking about Noah. He said this version of Noah is the most focused version he's ever seen Noah Gragson. So I think we will see a more serious Noah, because you want to know what? The guy almost had his career taken away. That puts things into perspective on what needs to be focused on and everything. So he is, and that's the thing. He's a great personality. You could show that personality, but first you have to show what you can do on track. Maybe take a step back, focus on track and less off the track antics and whatnot. So hoping for good things for all of Stewart-Haas Racing, especially with that new Mustang. Going to be interested to see that new Mustang in action. Looks sharp. I can't wait. Also interested, I didn't write it down, but the Toyota Camry has a new redesigned body as well. It looked terrible in the initial promos, but as paint schemes are rolling out, it's looking a lot better. I'm excited to see how it races.
They changed the front end a little bit.
Yeah.
Speaking of, after the holidays, I have a redesigned body too. The off season was not kind to me.
Now we know why Matt had to step away for a minute here.
Yeah. And he's been getting into those heavy IPAs and drinking them like they're light beers too. That doesn't help at all either.
Good Lord, I've made some IPA mistakes this off season. All right,
I was dying laughing the other day in the group chat when you were talking about that, because I made those same mistakes recently too. Yeah. Let's see. A piece of sad news, and I bring it up because there's really two great stories that I love about this man. Cale Yarborough passed away at the age of 84. But two of my favorite Cale Yarborough stories, and I think I told this in a NASCAR history segment a couple seasons ago, but 1983 Daytona 500, Cale Yarborough had one of the fastest cars, and he ended up flipping it during his second qualifying run. And then they went to a Hardee's in New Smyrna, grabbed an old show car, brought it to the track, put the new engine in, and then he went on to win the Daytona 500 that year. Just a fucking legend of a man. And the second story, while he was driving around that Daytona 500, he's constantly just making engine noises like a little kid. And I just love that, because like if you're in a NASCAR race car, you're just going in the corners, you're living your best life. So rest in peace to Cale Yarborough, absolute legend in the sport, Hall of Famer. And I just wanted to mention those two stories because I think they're hilarious. But we are running out of time in this episode, so running real quick. Furniture Row Motorsports is switching their technical alliance from RFK to Team Penske. Just quick, what do you guys think about that? Because I feel like RFK, I know Penske won the championship this year, but I feel like RFK was the more consistent Ford team.
I have a theory about this. I think there were some inner greasy, I'll use that word a lot too in this podcast. Greasy deals going on in the background. I think when you're affiliated with a team, we saw, data gets passed here, there, that, it helps your team. So we saw RFK take a leap, and we saw Penske. I don't know
behind.
How they end up with, but Penske was trash last year. And I think RFK taking that leap, I think having that affiliate helped them. So Penske
could have been
was
sharing
like,
data.
What? Let's do a greasy deal, steal it from RFK, and make them affiliated with us to give us that extra data, to give us that extra sim time and whatever that they get from being affiliated.
Yeah.
To me, it seemed like, because Penske knows that they didn't have the season that they wanted to have. I know Blaney went on to win the championship, but like, honest to God, besides that, like even Blaney's run wasn't that great last year. So compared to the year that he did win it prior, it was better. So it's like, man, I think Penske was struggling, and they want to move forward like RFK did. So they stole one of their assets.
And then the next piece, Cody. I'm sorry, Matt. Do you have anything to add?
No, you guys hit the nail on the head. I'm excited to see what both those teams do, and we're not going to give any takes for this episode. That'll be for the next episode to preview the season in the Daytona 500. But I've got some RFK takes that if you're a fan of that team, I think you'll like.
Okay, nice. I look forward to that. Well, again, like you said, we're going to do a Daytona preview, pretty much a season preview right before Daytona, like we do every year. And one thing I want to talk about, how do you think Rick Ware Racing will do? Because they now have a technical alliance with RFK Racing. And speaking of Rick Ware, Cody Ware has been reinstated after his legal issues in 2023. He hopes to share a Rick Ware car with Kaz Gralla, who is going to pilot one of their cars for most of the season. So congratulations to Kaz Gralla. He's a good driver that's been bouncing around part-time for teams for years now. So we'll see what he could do, but we'll talk about that in another episode from here, because we have a little bit more to go through. And I want to get to the Legacy news. So Legacy Motor Club signs Trevor Bayne and Corey Haim to compete for competition roles in 2024. So Bayne will be the driver optimization leader. Sounds interesting. Not sure what that really entails. And then Corey Haim will be the official reserve driver for Legacy and 2311. And I believe Corey Haim is the one that made that amazing ARCA save at Pocono that you will hear mentioned on this podcast a lot in 2021. It was. But what do you guys think about Trevor Bayne joining the fold of Legacy Motorsport or Legacy Motor Club with Matt Kenseth and all those guys?
I think it's a season. Well, actually, our resident Legacy guy here. I'll let Eric take the floor here on this one.
Well, anytime you get that like experience in there to help with these drivers like Trevor Bayne, with I think it's going to be more of like a driver coach, who suggested it? I think it might have been Kenny Wallace suggested that for Bubba Wallace. Yeah. Someone to really make sure that they're doing their homework, make sure that they're getting into the shop for a couple hours a day in the garage. Like keep yourself involved at all times. I think that might be the role that he's playing. Cause like you said, I don't know what that, you could put a title on anything to give someone a job, but I'm excited about it. I think anytime you bring people in like that's good role models, I think it's only going to help.
Kind of reminds me of what Kurt Busch is doing for 2311, being that mentor role type. And then speaking of Legacy, they will not be affiliated with Joe Gibbs or 2311 on the competition side. So, of course, 2311 and Joe Gibbs, they have their competition meetings together. They share a lot of data. Legacy wants to go their own road. They will share, though, of course, they're going to get resources from Toyota and all that stuff, sim time and everything, but they're not going to do competition meetings with Gibbs. What do you guys think about that?
Dumb.
Yeah.
I agree. Really I don't know whose decision that was, whether that's a Gibbs decision or whether that's a Legacy decision. But yeah, I mean, why not open up the door to as much information as possible, especially your first year in Toyota? Yeah. You want to be brought up to loop as much as possible. To kind of have an alliance would be super helpful. I mean, just it can't be overstated enough how helpful that would be. And I don't know whose decision that was. Maybe that's out there. Maybe it's not, but a stupid decision.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Honestly, in my personal opinion, I'm waiting to see, but I kind of like it. I kind of want to see them go out and perform well on their own, get the factory support, and fuck Joe Gibbs, fuck 2311. Let's go out there, learn something on our own, and try to dominate the Toyota space. Will it happen? I don't know.
Your point. I can see your point, Whitey, because let's say we always talk about it, even, Hendrick, any team that has multiple, cars in the field any given day, that first blown tire, guess what the other three drivers are thinking and crew chiefs?
That asshole puckers up. Yep.
I think we're next. So when you're affiliated, you're going to be running the same stuff most likely. So Whitey, good point with hey, let's not get backtracked or sidetracked trying to keep up with what they're doing. Yeah. Let's be our own entity. I think that's a Jimmy Johnson thing where it's he wants to stamp himself. He wants to do it on his own. And, just through, like you said, the manufacturer in Toyota, and they're going to get most information from Toyota.
Do you know how weird it's going to be when Jimmy Johnson's at that? I would assume he'll be at the 500. How weird it's going to be to see him in a Toyota Polo.
Oh well, no, he's going to be in a Toyota fire suit.
Yeah, Yeah,
He's driving. That's right. He's racing. Yes.
Yeah, 84 car, baby.
No, you're right.
And
You're
they have a sick petty blue car for Carvana. It looks really cool. They released that the other day.
Yeah, Carvana schemed for Indy when he was over in Indy. So there's that relationship. I totally forgot that Jimmy was driving. That's right.
Yep. And then speaking of Daytona 500, just quick, because I think it's cool, Pitbull is going to perform the pre-race show. So NASCAR team owner Pitbull coming back to the sport, and I just like to see the engagement. Also, some new Trackside Live is returning in 2024 to Speedway Motorsports tracks. Of course, that's Kenny Wallace and John Roberts. It won't be every race at an SMI track. There's a full list. You can check it out at jski.com for the article. And then
did I ever show you guys my favorite picture of Pitbull?
No.
Oh.
That's some good looking ears.
Like him, though, to be honest with you, I'm not gonna
looks like him.
Oh man, you guys are terrible. If you're not watching on YouTube, Matt showed an actual Pitbull. It's a nice looking pup. Let's see, NASCAR Crocs are coming soon. If Crocs couldn't look worse, they painted them in the NASCAR colors.
Tomorrow Crocs.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the tie-in, but I think they look terrible. SVG is going to drive 7 races for the Colleague number 16 car. He's going to be racing at COTA, Dega in the spring and the fall, the Coke 600, the Chicago Street Race, the Watkins Glen playoff race, and the Vegas playoff race. Nothing. Do you guys have anything to add on that? Just
he's our boy.
Yeah,
SVG, baby. Let's go.
And then 2 last pieces of news. NASCAR made a rulebook update for short tracks and road courses. We'll see how it plays out. I'm hoping it's
fingers crossed on that one. Fingers crossed on that one.
It looks like they've removed a lot of downforce from the bottom panels and everything. So we'll see what happens there. And then teams have let their charter negotiation period with NASCAR expire without another extension. So not happy with the deal that NASCAR wants to give them. All of this plays off of that media rights deal, the $1.1 billion per year deal we talked about earlier. So NASCAR teams still on the outs. We'll see what happens with that. Do you guys have any thoughts or... It's kind of one of those things. It's like we're not in those meetings, so we don't know.
Yeah, you will never know. We could speculate all day long about that. They don't even know. It's hard enough for them to get it done. For us to even have a take on that,
Yeah.
And then I did have a pick a lane, but we only have 5 minutes left in the show, so I don't want to get into the weeds with it. We'll probably save it for the Daytona preview because I do think it's interesting. What's that?
You know what I want to bring up that I like about the Clash that I think is unique, makes it just fun. And I think I would actually I like the idea that they give medals, like a gold, a silver, and a bronze. But I think they should make them cartoonishly big when they hand them to them and put them around.
They should make
like Flavor Flav box.
I know they don't use carburetors in the Cup Series anymore, but they use them in the Xfinity Series. Put a bronze, silver, and gold carburetor.
Don't just give them a little metal. Make it. I think they could make it a little bit cooler. But I do like the metal thing at the Coliseum.
That is fun. That is a good idea. Just making them gigantic.
Like a hubcap from an old Buick.
Oh, it's a center cap for the lug. It's the single lug. Yeah. Pull it off of one of the pit crew guys is that didn't tighten it for farther enough. I'm sorry. And then so my pick a lane, and we'll save it for another week. But Kyle Larson says he doesn't see himself competing in NASCAR past the age of 40. I don't know what the question to pose to you guys is, and we're running out of time, but I just thought it was an interesting statement, and I would like to talk about it further at a different time. But unfortunately, we are running out of time because it is race weekend, and I got to get this podcast up for you guys to listen to. What's up, Matt?
Did we want to mention the idea of the new segment so listeners kind of have a...
Yeah. So let them know. What do you want to do?
So real quick, we were brainstorming in the off season, and we thought, hey, how can we get people who listen to us every week? How can we get them more interactive with the show? Because obviously, we do this for you guys. So what we're going to do starting maybe next week or whatever, we're going to post on all our social medias, just like question or statement of the week, and post your question, whether it's a NASCAR related question, non-NASCAR related, if you want to know something about us, if you want to just anything, if you want us to address something in the NASCAR world or beyond, post it. And then we'll pick the best question or comment of the week and we'll discuss it. So just be on the lookout for those posts. You could comment on our YouTube videos, starting with this one, if you have questions in mind already. And like I said, we'll pluck one out each week and give you a shout out and talk about whatever the question is.
Ray Scrub, if you're listening, if you're back this season, let us know. Charlie Warner, same deal, friend of the show. Are you going to Daytona? If you're going to Daytona this year, let us know, because me and Jay are going to be down there. And then, but yeah, to wrap it up, hashtag ask BNR or something like that after you ask your question. But yeah, hit us up on any social media or the YouTube channel itself. And we're headed to LA. It's the Busch Clash at the Coliseum. It's a fun little exhibition race. Give us a little taste. It's an event. Matt sent us a great article. We'll repost it on Twitter. It's just a fun event to get your toes back in the water in NASCAR, to remind you that we're there.
41.
What's that?
41. So I'm taking.
Oh, to win?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that means, but we're under a minute. Anyways, what?
What do you mean you don't know what it means?
I'm taking the 41 to win the Clash, dude. Like, I'm giving my takeout to win.
Who's in the 41? I don't even. Oh, was it Chase Briscoe? Anyway, we're under a minute. I got to get this out of here. Heat races Saturday, 6 to 9:30 on FS1. Who is in the 41? I don't even remember. Chase Briscoe? No, he's in the 14. Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece, good call. Anyways, all right. Sorry, Saturday, 6 p.m. FS1. Matt's taking Josh Berry, and I'm taking Tyler Reddick. It's about to end, and we're gonna see you Sunday at 8 on Fox. For Matt the Statman Reilly, for Eric Daytona Ron, I'm Michael D. White saying have a good night.
There it is.